Thanks for joining us for today's presentation, which is all about Ambition's new coaching platform. I'm Keely Hungate, and I'm on the marketing team here at Ambition. And today I'm going to hit some of the highlights of our new coaching platform, and then I'll pass it over to Michael Cavopol, who is our Director of Customer Success, and he'll hop into the product and show you around the feature. So before we get started, just a little housekeeping. We will send you a recording of the webinar, so if you need to hop off or you want to share it with your friends, we've got you covered. There are a lot of people on the line today, so you're all muted. Sorry about that. We'd love to talk to you in person, but for today's session, since we have so many people on the line, the best way to communicate and ask questions is through the Q&A panel, which I've highlighted here on the screen. So feel free to submit questions at any point during today's session. We'll also reserve time at the end with Michael to answer as many as we can. And if we don't have time to get to all of them, then we will respond to you after the session. We've already got some great questions in before the presentation, so we'll be sure to answer those as we can. So before I pass it over to Michael, I just want to give a quick overview of why we are so excited about this new Ambition feature and why we believe coaching is such an important part of sales performance management. So coaching is the #1 activity that sales leaders can do to drive performance and productivity. It creates transparency and accountability, it motivates your teams, it strengthens relationships and builds culture, but the impact you have as a coach isn't always clear or measurable. As I'm sure you know, it can be really difficult to tie the performance of your team or individual reps to your coaching programs. These are a few of the things that we hear sales leaders struggling with. First, organization. So many sales leaders are recording their conversations on Post-it notes or spreadsheets, and those are really hard to keep up with, which creates a problem with tracking. So you can't see what was discussed or completed in past one-on-ones, so different activities are measured at different intervals, and that leads to bad data. When you can't compare 1 week or month to the next, you can't evaluate the performance of your reps, develop action plans, and hold them accountable. And that gives you very little insight into your effectiveness and impact as a coach. So how do you know what's working and what's not? How do you know if you're changing behavior and moving your team in the right direction? Ultimately, all of those challenges can feed off one another and make it feel like your one-on-ones are a waste of time. So we heard about those challenges from our customers and we experienced them ourselves, which led to the development of our coaching platform. Michael is going to take you through a demo in just a second, but here are a few of the feature highlights. So with our coaching feature, you can run one-on-one programs for any rep or role. We have a turnkey program builder that allows you to build custom, scalable, and effective one-on-one coaching tracks for your entire sales organization. You can personalize programs for reps that need the most help, or you can scale them to fit the needs of an entire team. You can create KPI reports to keep your team moving in the right direction. You can make decisions based on real-time attainment and metric data from Salesforce. And you can use data to power coaching conversations and maximize alignment on goals. So now I'll pass it over to Michael and he will walk you through the new features.
Awesome. Thank you, Keely. Hopefully everybody can hear me. Also, Keely, I hope it's okay if I turn my video on. I guess I can't. If you can, I'd love to turn my video on if you can enable that, but if not, it's not a big deal. So welcome everybody from sunny Nashville. Really excited to talk to you folks about coaching today. But before we dive into the product itself, I just want to spend a couple moments re-emphasizing some of the elements that Keely just talked about, because I think it's helpful to kind of understand the mental model for coaching before I show it to you. So in Ambition, we assemble coaching sessions into what we call a coaching program. A coaching program is essentially a topically based series of coaching sessions, and you can build coaching programs for anything. You can have just your regular, one-on-ones happen in a coaching program. You can build a particular coaching program to drive productivity or performance around a particular metric or conversion. And so we'll walk through all that. But in addition to that, we also have what are called action plans. We'll be walking through those in some detail today as well. And those are trackable outcomes from coaching sessions. So the idea here would be if I were to create a coaching program, my regular one-on-one coaching cadence with my team. I'd create a program for that. Within that coaching program, each of our weekly meetings would be captured under a coaching session, which we'll talk through. And if an outcome of one of those coaching sessions was a particular goal, or maybe a particular resource, or a particular URL that I'd like somebody to visit and consume and educate themselves, then those are all part of these action plans that can come out of and be tracked. And this all kind of works together to be the overall Ambition coaching platform. As Keely mentioned, since I'm probably going to do a lot of talking, or I think everybody hopes I'm going to do a lot of talking, what we'll do, if you folks don't mind responding in the Q&A button, which is at the bottom of the screen, then we can capture those and then we'll answer all those questions at the end of today's session. And I'm going to try turning my video on one more time. Nope, okay, that's fine. No video today. Okay, let's get into it. I'm sure everybody's very anxious to see Ambition's coaching program. So I'm going to share my screen here. There we go. Okay, hopefully everybody sees a screen that says Travis Truitt up on the top left-hand corner. And if you can't, then just drop us a message and I'll fix whatever I've done wrong. So I just walked you through the mental model of programs. Sessions are part of a program, and then action plans are trackable outcomes outside of that. So right now we're logged in as a manager. I'm going to show you what it looks like to create a coaching program, which will then generate those coaching sessions. And then once we've kind of done things on the manager side, we'll walk back through it on the producer side, so you can kind of see what this looks like from your rep's perspective. Okay, so to create a new coaching program, you're going to navigate over here to the left-hand nav bar, and you'll come down to Administration and click on Coaching. Here it is. You'll notice immediately you have action plans and coaching both there. For right now, we're going to click Coaching Programs. And the menu that you're presented here with shows you all of the active coaching programs that are going on right now. So here I can see Jared's AE Weekly Pipe Review. I can see Travis's BDR Midweek Catch-Up, and so on and so forth. Now, one thing that I want you to pay special attention to here is you've got this blue export button over on the right-hand side. This is where you can export your coaching data from this entire coaching program. So all the data that we have on all the different sessions for all the different reps that are participating in this program can be exported into a CSV or Excel format so that you can open that data up and you can use it in whatever BI processes that you have outside of Ambition. We're trying to make that data really accessible and really flexible so that you can use it in a variety of different ways. So right now we're going to create a new coaching program. Let's just call this the CSM Weekly One-on-One, okay? I could provide a description. So this would be, regular weekly CSM, if I could spell today, cadence. And the objective here is going to be, as a team, we want to improve and adjust. Whatever you want to put here makes sense. These are just to help us understand and help the reps understand what exactly is going on. They're going to get an email with all this information the first time this coaching program is created. Now to the right, you'll notice that we have the recurrence pane. This just controls how often the coaching sessions are going to happen. So in this case, we'll start this, let's say next week, beginning of November 1st. The start time, the reason the start time is important is because both the start date and the start time are going to be when this team gets emails. So if I didn't want them to get emails in the middle of the week, if I wanted them to get emails that Monday, then maybe I'd pick the 5th, for example. So the 5th at 8 a.m., we'll send out emails to everybody, and then this is going to be Central Time. It's where we're located here in Nashville. Great. Now, I don't want to create coaching sessions for every day. I just want to create coaching sessions for every week. This is a really flexible tool right here. So you can, you really have a lot of control over how often these things happen. So you can configure that cadence to match whatever your coaching cadence is. And then we're gonna go ahead and end this. Let's say we wanna do this for 3 months. So that would be what, 4, 8, 12 occurrences? I'm doing my math right? Or we could pick a date. That might have been easier. Okay, now, who is gonna participate in this coaching program? What we could do here is we could pick the manager that's going to be hosting or running these coaching sessions. In this case, we're gonna pick Travis. And then employees, we have a couple different options here. We can either pick all of the employees that Travis manages. We can pick all employees within specific groups, or we can just pick specific employees. I'm gonna use the all employees within specific groups just to show you that we've got a lot of flexibility here in terms of picking an entire group, or if instead of picking entire groups, you just wanted to pick, hey, here's everybody who rolls up to Travis, you could do that as well. Either one works. All right, and then we come down to the question section. This is really the meat and potatoes of coaching. Here's where you build out the questions that you're expecting your reps to come prepared to answer every week. We can go and look at some of the other coaching programs to get inspiration, but one of the other things that you can do here is you can click on the coaching library. I won't do that right now, but that takes you to our knowledge base where we have tons of inspiration broken out by different role and different job function to really get the gears turning. So you can start to think about what are the types of questions that I like to ask. For me, the biggest questions are, what can I do as a manager to help you succeed? And I hate that I can't type and talk at the same time, but that's just a personal shortcoming of mine. So what can I do as a manager to help you succeed? Great. That's definitely going to be a required question. Another question that I like to ask is, what obstacles can I get out of your way? And then a very traditional, we'll also make that required. And then a very traditional question, which is, what is your focus this week? Okay, maybe we won't require that one. So as you can see, you can create a variety of different questions. You can order them however you'd like. You can make them required or not. And then once you're done with questions, then we come down here to the attribution component. So here's where we can really start to tie the effects of this coaching cadence or coaching program to hard data, to the metrics that are coming out of the system. So here are a library of all the metrics that we have built out in this Ambition instance. Obviously, in your Ambition instance, you'll have different metrics that are unique to your process, your business. But here, let's say we're going to track progress against appointment set. So this whole coaching program is theoretically focused on driving more appointment set. And by selecting this metric, Ambition can help me understand the correlation between this coaching program and each of the individual coaching sessions and this particular metric, which is kind of our North Star for this program. All right, that's it. I'm not going to create this program because this is just a demo, but I want to go in and show you what a assembled and what a completed program looks like. And to do that, we're going to come right back to where we were a moment ago in the administration menu for coaching programs. And you can see for any of these programs, I can just click edit. I can come in here. I can review this coaching program. I can review which questions are in there. I can change those questions up. So this is really the interface that you'll be dealing with when administering or generating a coaching program. All right. Now, as I said earlier, when you create a coaching program, that essentially generates a series of coaching events. Those coaching events are what you and the participant, or the producer in this case, are going to collaborate on. So I'm going to switch over to Aaron's view. Aaron is our user in this demo instance. This is Aaron's dashboard, as many of you might be familiar with the Ambition dashboard. But what I want to talk about today is, what does Aaron see when Erin goes to look at her coaching check-ins. So Erin will get notified with this little bell over in the top right-hand corner, the notification bell that she has a coaching check-in due. She'll also get an email about it. So we try to be really proactive about letting Erin know, hey, Erin, you've got a coaching session coming up. And when she comes into her coaching tab here, into coaching check-ins, you'll see all these coaching check-ins here. So these are, Erin hasn't filled out a couple. Obviously, Erin's a demo user. Erin's not really coming in here and filling these things out. But if she would have seen all these coaching programs and she could fill one of these out. So we'll just pick the one for October 11th. And here's the interface. So these are the same questions that we built out in the coaching program. Erin's gonna come in, she's gonna see which of these are required and not. She's gonna fill those out. Over here on the right-hand side, you see a comments window. And in this comments window, we can have a back and forth. We can have a dialogue leading up to the meeting. So for example, if Erin and I were gonna meet on Thursday, Erin could be getting ahead of this on Monday. She could come in, she could start filling her coaching program out. And then if Erin had some questions for me, we could correspond back and forth here in the coaching check-in. All that conversation is relevant to this particular check-in, and it's gonna be logged and it's gonna be archived along with it, so we can always come back and see what we discussed about in the future. When this is complete, so I'm just gonna drop in some sample values here. When this is complete, Erin can mark this coaching session as complete, and then that's it. That'll pop over to me, and I'll say, hey, Michael, Erin has completed her coaching check-in, and then I can go in and mark that as approved. I'm gonna spend a couple of minutes here before we go any further talking about the other things that Erin has access to in this coaching interface, because our intention here is to really help drive proactive, data-driven coaching conversations. And as an element of being data-driven, we want to give access to all of Erin's metrics right here in the coaching interface. So here you can see this is all the different metrics that Ambition is tracking for Erin. Erin can look at them in this week or this month or this quarter, whatever time frame makes the most sense. You'll see right in here with all these metrics, Erin can see how she stacks up against the rest of the folks in the company. So in terms of total activities, Erin's done 242 this week. That puts her in 26th out of 100 or 99 people. So Erin can really start to get a feel for, hey, how am I doing personally? I don't even have to check in with my manager to understand that I'm doing really great on appointments set. I'm the 4th out of 100 reps who are setting appointments this week. So that's great. Erin also has access to see this data over time. So here's Erin's performance on activity score. I don't want to get too deep into activity score today, but it's kind of an index of Erin's overall productivity. And so here's her benchmark. 100 is doing great, meeting all expectations. And so here Erin can see over the last 30 days what her performance has been in relation to that. So lots of access to lots of information here. Erin can also see any open goals that she has. So this is part of Ambition's goal management tool. Also, it's brought here into the coaching platform so you can kind of see progress against those goals. We could click into that to learn more about this million pipeline generated 2018 goal. And then the last piece here is what I mentioned earlier, which are action plans. Now, Erin doesn't have the ability to create any action plans because she's the rep, but we'll jump right back over to Travis's view here in a minute, and I'll show you how you can build these action plans. What Erin would see in her view here are, hey, were there any previous action plans from my last coaching session that are still outstanding and that I need to complete? As well as, are there any new action plans that I need to be focused on? So let's jump back over here to Travis's view. Right now, we're going to go to check-ins. So here's the manager view for check-ins. Let's look for all check-ins. I'm just going to adjust my filters. You can see over here in the filter panel, when you have a lot of reps that you're managing, sometimes it's really helpful to sort by owner, find a particular employee. If you're searching past coaching programs, you can filter for programs that exceeded expectation or did not meet expectation. So you have a little bit of flexibility here in terms of bringing the right information to the surface. But we're gonna just jump in, look at Diego's action plan right here. And if I jump over to action plans, you'll notice that in the manager view, rather than new action plan, I have my action plan builder. So as I said, action plans are the deliverable outcomes of a coaching session. A coaching session is just our log of the interaction. I'm going to sit down with my rep. We're going to have our coaching session. We're going to talk through what needs to be done. And then I'm going to fill out, or I'm going to approve the coaching session as an outcome. But if there are any deliverables that I need, in this case, Diego to focus on, I'm going to say, Diego, by the end of next month, so at the end of November, I need you to do something. I either need you to answer a question, I need you to meet a goal. The nice thing about those goals is they can be automatically tied to metrics. So for example, if I was trying to help Diego with his conversion, and I said, Diego, I need to see your conversion increase by 3%, then we could set a goal, and Ambition is automatically going to track progress against that. I don't think that I have a conversion metric built out in this demo instance, so I can't show you that. But I also have external URL. So for example, if, I don't know if everybody on this webinar knows that Ambition has our own LMS. We have Ambition University. Within Ambition University, we have a lot of different courses on how to do different things in Ambition. And I could put the URL for one of those things. I could say, Diego, I need you to learn about creating scheduled reports or triggers in Ambition. And I could put that course URL right in there. And that would be, university.ambition.com/triggers. That's not actually it, but we're just going to use it. And then by creating this action plan, I would create the outcome deliverable for Diego to go complete this coursework, and then I would get a notification when that was complete. So that's a general overview of coaching and action plans. There's one other piece here that I just want to spend a little bit of time talking about before I turn it over to Keely, and that is the action plan menu itself. And the reason that this exists is action plans don't always have to be tied to coaching sessions. Sometimes you might want to create an action plan that's independent of the coaching session just to represent progress towards another deliverable. So let's take a look at all of these. We can see Erin has an outstanding deliverable that was due on June 30th, and it consists of 3 external URLs that she hasn't yet finished. So the action plan menu is really where you can come to see all the outstanding deliverables outside of the coaching framework, so you can get a really good idea of who's been assigned what and where they are with that progress. So here I could come in, I could see this particular action plan. I could see that Erin has not completed her listen more, talk less external URL along with 2 others. And so I could say something like, hey, Erin, right? And so Erin just got an email because I dropped a comment in there saying, hey, we need to pick the pace up on this. This is a little bit late. All right, so that is it for coaching. We talked about how to attribute coaching programs to particular metrics so you can track their effectiveness. We talked about how to export coaching data. Here we go. Coaching programs. We talked about how you can export that coaching data for review in other BI tools. We talked about coaching programs and coaching sessions, both from the rep's perspective and the manager's perspective. And then we talked about tracking deliverables with action plans. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen. I'm going to turn it back to Keely for, I think, a couple more housekeeping items. And I know we have some time left over for Q&A, but I don't want to get ahead of myself. So I'm going to go back on mute, and I guess I'll be back in just a moment if we have some questions. Or we can go straight into questions.
All right.
Keely, do you want to, I think I've got some of these questions open over here. Do you want me to just jump into, I guess I can read off the question first.
I'll run through them, and because we've got a couple that we got before the session as well. So I'll just read them off and you can walk through the answers. Does that work for you?
That's perfect. Let's do it.
Okay, so Paula White wanted to know if this is not just for Salesforce, correct?
That's absolutely correct. So this works with any CRM. It actually works independent of CRM. If for whatever reason you folks don't even have a CRM, you can still use coaching. The part of this that is, I don't even want to say dependent on your CRM because it's not. The part of this that might be tied to your CRM is what some of those metrics are. So earlier when I was showing you all the different metrics, that doesn't have to be Salesforce. You could be transmitting that information to Ambition from any CRM, and we could be processing and showing those metrics to reps and dashboards. But even without any of that, you could still use coaching independently.
Okay, great. So then we also got a question from Nicole Pringle. She wants to know if you have 12 people on your team, will it send an email that all 12 have a one-on-one on Monday at 8 a.m.?
That's a great question, Nicole. So we do what we can to try to preserve anonymity. One of the use cases for a coaching program could be a performance improvement plan. So what we don't want to do is we don't want to send the whole team an email and say, hey everybody, remember about Jim's performance improvement check-in Tuesday at 9 o'clock. So what we do instead is we just email everybody directly. So for every coaching program that you're involved in, you might be in 1 or 2 or 3, you would get an email that says, hey, Jim, privately, remember that you've got this coaching session due this week. And that could be weekly, it could be monthly, it could be quarterly. Remember, you can control the cadence of that coaching program. So there's a lot of flexibility, but also some privacy and some anonymity to make sure that just the right folks are getting notified with the right information. Great question.
All right, Zachary Ramito asked, he said it could be an access issue, but he only has a handful of repetitive goal options when he's creating an action plan builder. There are a number of metrics that he normally tracks in Ambition that he's not showing.
Yeah, you know, I'm not quite sure what's going on with that. When you create a goal, you should have access to the entire library of metrics that you folks have built out in Ambition. So if you don't, then a great thing to do is just go down to the bottom right-hand corner of your Ambition interface. There's a little blue Get Help button, and you can just fire up a chat session with one of our support engineers who can take a look. And if there's this particular metric that you want to track, then we can try to figure out why that metric itself is not available and get you sorted away. So hopefully that's just a quick configuration issue that we can help you with and get you rolling with coaching.
All right, we've got a couple more. Kelly asked, I am supposed to run any development programs through our HR department. Will this work with my other systems?
That is a great question, Kelly. One of the reasons that we provide that coaching export in CSV format is because that's one of the most common formats available. So I can't speak for your other coaching program, but I'm sure that it has the ability to ingest and import data from other sources. And if it does, then we're providing it in the most standard format available. What I would say is, you know, just be aware of the other initiatives within your organization. We want to make sure that if you have another coaching platform, that we're adding value alongside, but not creating confusion. I think that's just a internal change management conversation of, hey, how do we introduce this new functionality alongside our old functionality so we get the best of both worlds?
All right. Barry asked, he said, we're having a really hard time getting our SDRs to hit their call quotas, and we talk about this a lot in our one-on-ones. What are some good action plans that you've seen work in this instance?
That's a really good question, Barry. I'd almost say that, you know, if I were in your shoes, I would not be so focused on action plan. I mean, as we talked about earlier, a goal is an element of an action plan. I'm a firm believer that if you're having a hard time hitting quota, you're not doing one of two things. You either don't have the inputs, so you don't have the calls, you don't have the emails, you don't have the activity that's going to drive that result, or you do have that activity, but you're not seeing the conversion. I think those are two separate coaching conversations. One is, hey, if you're not making the calls, if you're not sending the emails, then obviously you're not going to be setting meetings, you're not going to hit your quota. So let's create a goal for that. Let's create a goal that you get 100 activities scored daily for the next month. And then if you do that and you're still not hitting your quota, well, that's a different conversation. That's, okay, you're putting in the effort, you're doing the work, we have the data to show that. Now, how can we help you and how can we train you and how can we help you be better at converting that input into the objective or the output, which is, you know, you hitting your quota or setting meetings or creating pipeline, whatever that metric is.
All right, last question. John H. wants to know if coaching costs extra.
No, coaching does not cost extra. Coaching is just part of Ambition. We really believe that it's a crucial part of employee development, which is one of our pillars here at Ambition. So we're investing heavily in building coaching, making coaching better. We'd love everybody's feedback after you've had an opportunity to play with coaching. And yeah, that's a long answer to say, no, it's free.
Okay, great. And we've had a few people asking about whether they can see coaching in their Ambition accounts. This feature is going to be enabled on November 1st, so you should be able to see it on Thursday.
That, I guess, yeah, if Thursday is November 1st, then that's just in time for the weekend. I know everybody can't wait to play with coaching all weekend.
All right. Thanks, Michael.
Absolutely.
So, just a few more things as we wrap up. If any of you have questions about coaching or any other Ambition features or products, you can visit ambition.zendesk.com at any time. And here's just a little look at what you'll see when you get to that page. There's a search bar, so you can search for specific words or terms, and then you can also browse by role. And you'll see over here on the right, there is a whole section all about coaching.
Sorry, Keely. I have a terrible habit. I'm sure everybody on this call is aware. I have a terrible habit of going really, really fast. But everything that we talked about and all those how-tos are in Ambition, ambition.zendesk.com. So definitely check that out. That's another resource that we've heavily invested in. And on that last slide, you know, Keely was showing that we've got all of this broken out by different personas. So whether you're a rep trying to understand what you're seeing in the coaching interface, or you're a manager and you're wondering how you create a new program, we've broken all that out by persona. So hopefully this is really, really easy to work with. It gets you your answers quickly. And as always, if you have feedback on any of this, we'd love to hear it.
And then you can always contact gethelp@ambition.com if you have questions that you can't find answers to at Zendesk. So thank you everybody for attending today's session. As a reminder, I'll send the recording out to you within a few business days, and I hope you all enjoy your Tuesday. We're looking forward to connecting with you soon, and if there are any final questions rolling in, we'll make sure we get those answered as well. Thanks everybody.
Thanks, everyone.